this ratifies that we are the first and main political force in Ecuador. So we are very happy for this triumph, that our method, if they had perdured over Webster, the victory would have been even greater. In any case, we have the main block of parliament members in the future National Assembly, in expectation that it still can grow a little bit in function to the polls that are still pending. So we are very happy with these results. As I said before, we take with great responsibility these challenges towards the necessities of the Ecuadorian people and the dynamic that the 21st century requires, with a more innovative political action, a more dynamic political action, and more efficient action to solve the problems immediately that our country has. One additional subject I would like to talk about is that the result of February 7th show that approximately 70% of Ecuador voted for options related to public justice. So it's a good union, a good bloc that represents progressive unity and social democracy, planted as a challenge of the country that overcomes the bad practices of neoliberalism to which we have come accustomed with Lenin Moreno's government. I believe that on February 7th, the country had a victory of the people that is reflected in this consensus, this broad consensus of 70% of voters voting for this great coalition, this historical bloc that represents progressiveness, unity, and social democracy in Ecuador. This is very important, and it shows that most of the country does not want to continue with the route of neoliberalism, does not want to follow the route of bank management. A third key element that is important is that we're making a call to all political actors involved in this electoral process to have patience, that we act with prudency. We make a call to non-violence, to keep the situation in peace, and that all the elements that are pending to resolve in electoral matters are solved under democracy and institutional mechanism that are foreseen for such things. So we are open to collaborate and work together for this process to continue moving forward with the utmost transparency, respecting the people's will. Many people have asked, with whom do we prefer to participate in this second round? We prefer to participate in this second round because the people, with whoever the people of Ecuador decides, those that have to participate in this second round, we welcome this second round. There will be an interchange of proposals, of ideas that benefits our country. We are absolutely at the disposal to enter in this great debate that the country requires and needs to provide urgent solutions to the economic crisis and health crisis that Ecuador is experiencing, and later to implement the program in the Montecristi Constitution. I think this is a national consensus, and we aspire that we can continue to implement it with all involved actors. I would like to also make a call to unity, to stay to the unity of the future. It's time to leave behind the past. Ecuador has challenges, and we have to focus in the future. Our candidacy, our political statements will be headed to the future of our country with renewed ideas, with innovation, with creativity. We are going to find solutions, we are going to make proposals, and we're going to reach agreements for the benefit of our country. That's my commitment, and for all the team here at Union for Hope. A fourth topic that I would like to talk about has to do with the making of the National Assembly and the challenges that we have pending in this area. It's a call that we would like to make to the rest of administrative blocks, those in the current assembly as well as those in the upcoming assembly, so that we can work together to guarantee the rights of Ecuadorian citizens and take away the deepening of the neoliberal agenda that seeks to privatize everything at the expense of the Ecuadorian people. In this sense, as we have said before, we openly oppose to the privatization law of the central bank that the outgoing president made few days before leaving the government. We will not allow that such a law is approved, that where the positions named by Lenin Moreno will have a longer period than the upcoming administration of the Republic. That cannot be accepted. It cannot be accepted that they want to privatize the governance of the central bank so that bankers can continue in power independently from the will, the democratic will of the Ecuadorian people. So we will not allow that they allow to change the norms so that when a new sovereign government that represents its people cannot modify the norms in terms of credits. Please, Ecuadorian families, they are drowning in debt. Many of them acquired in the framework of the pandemic and the crisis brought about by the lockdowns. And that cannot be on the shoulders of Ecuadorian families. So if this government manages to approve this law privatizing the central bank, they will live without effective instrument for the following government to alleviate the huge burden of debts that Ecuadorian families are suffering, and also honest businessmen of our country. So we must have enough margin in the area of finance so that we can make these restructurations to lower interest rates and to eliminate absurd interests that are being charged. We are also worried that in the context of the monetary fund, the law of the privatization of the central bank made by Mr. Moreno still has articles that would affect the cooperative system of savings of Ecuador. So we're going to save and defend the stability of this system. And we do not want it to have an attack by bank powers amidst to this system that has provided a development to access to credit to middle and small companies all over our country. So we ask current parliament members, assembly members, but also for the upcoming assembly to stand firm and stay alert on this regard, since it can be a huge burden against Ecuadorian families and financial situation of our country. So we make a call also to not repeat the fraudulent candidacy that Lenin Moreno did with this bill, because it's like 4 laws now that are using the same name. And here we are talking about the law of privatizing the Central Bank of Ecuador. I would also like to make a call to the entire country, but especially to the business sector and production sector of our country. The country is going to face a decision that cannot provide benefits to the finance sector over the productive sector of our country. We must be aware that for people to have access to good working conditions, equal working conditions, in accordance with the law, for all our young women and men of the country, there has to be a push forward to the production mechanism of our country. We are fully aware that in order to have work, we must strengthen the productive mechanism of our country through public measures, but mainly through credit, affordable credit. If the country sees that the production is under the interest of very few bankers, we are going to make it more difficult for businessmen of our country. In this sense, we make a call so that the production areas of Ecuador make a joint proposal so that the financial system is in service of the production area and not the other way around. That's the main decision when we are talking about the law of privatizing the central bank. We believe that the ones that are represented are the productive sectors of our country, which are producing value every day, and they are not speculating with our money. That's the big difference between the model that is being stated with this law presented by Lenin Moreno, that go against the productive capacity of our country. For the production sector, and in line with our proposal to bring more US dollars to Ecuador, we have made already the proposal, but we make it now even stronger, of the contract of economic certainty. What businessmen in Ecuador want is that their norms are not very volatile. They are not subject to change. That there are lots of changes in rates. That's why we are proposing this contract of economic certainty, where we will also include, for example, the stability of tax and the steady rates in terms of electricity, in terms of investment projects. But this contract has a counterpart, and is that the enterprise that signs such contract is also committing to have goals of creating jobs, of transferring technology and learning to its workers, and hopefully goals of exporting. So both parts are going to have certainty. The state will have certainty that the enterprise is creating jobs and helping for the development of the country. The enterprise is going to have the certainty that the rules of the game won't change on the way. And there is also certainty for workers that will have a stability and will have opportunities, and in terms will be able to invest, to acquire goods as houses, cars. This will allow the economy to develop so that dollars and capitals abroad return to our country with certainty that provides tranquility to all the parts involved. This is a main proposal that, together with the certainty that is given by the strengthening of the dollar, with the entering of dollar from abroad to our country, will also give us tranquility and stability for the upcoming times in the future of the Union for Hope. And finally, I would like to make a call of fundamental agreements in terms of the development of the campaign in the next 2 months. We want a clean campaign, an inclusive campaign of young women, vulnerable groups of our society, businessmen, committed with the development of our country, Ecuadorians from different regions, to the indigenous peoples, to the people of Afro and people of Montubio, to be involved in the campaign. That this is not a discussion only between two people or between elite groups, but that it is an inclusive campaign that takes into consideration all the concerns from different sectors of our society, and that is a campaign based on proposals. We have been victims during the last weeks of an intense campaign, of a dirty campaign, where openly disinformation has been provided to Ecuadorian people, where they have come up with videos and accusations totally fake, including one that has been discredited by international media of financing of a Colombian group. This we will not accept. We completely reject this dirty campaign, and it's even worse when fake news managed to be listened as if it was true, authentic news in our media. We make a call to act with responsibility. We are talking about the destiny of our country, and we are fully willing to reach agreements in and around of the objectives that we must accomplish in this campaign. These were the main announcements that I would like and I would also like to share again the joy that we have for this important achievement and the achievement of the important bloc that we have in the National Assembly. We make a call for the entire Ecuadorian people, especially to this white group fighting for justice and social equality and justice reflected in the citizenship and in the composition of the future National Assembly. We are very glad for the results, and we make a call so that the process continues to being carried out in peace without violence, and that we can soon have the results of the second round. Meanwhile, we are going to continue to talk with all of you and to look for the needed answers to be able to take this country to the future, focusing on the concrete necessities of the Ecuadorian people in terms of facing the economic and health crisis that we are experiencing, and the deepening of a program already established in the current constitution of our country. Thank you very much.